Ooh, that's fancy. I've never heard that. Welcome, everybody. This is the 2021 State of the City of Bothell Address to the Bothell Kenmore Chamber of Commerce. We are so excited to have this opportunity to share with you what's happening in the city of Bothell. I'm Carmen Delzell. I'm the current president for the Bothell Kenmore Chamber, and I also serve with the North Shore Schools Foundation for my day job. So as we begin, I want to just start with a big thank you. I thank you to our chamber's biggest supporters, our patron members, and our community partners. These are businesses that offer us year-round support and make it possible for us to continue to operate. They mean the world to us. They offer valuable dollars so that we can continue to fulfill our mission. So thank you so much to our patron members and our community members. And of course, the newest members. I only have a little bit of North Shore Schools Foundation and North Shore School District just recently joined, which is so fabulous. Okay, but I also want to really thank the City of Bothell. Of course, they are the featured speaker today, but they also provide tremendous support for our chamber year-round. We're honored that they have chosen us to represent them in the business community and be the Begin at Bothell. You can see Mayor Olsen's background, the Begin at Bothell Visitor Center. And with their support, we're able to kind of play that role. And so we're able to attract business and be there for people as they come to find out about Bothell, and then also to help our businesses get connected with new donors. It means the world to us. And also over this last year, the partnership that we've had with the City of Bothell has proved to be more valuable and critical for our community more than ever. We've collaborated with them often to provide much needed support for our community. And so we just thank you. So thank you, City of Bothell. We'll hear more from them soon. And then not least at all is our sponsors for today's event. So we can't run these events without sponsors. So we've got a couple sponsors and you're going to hear from them in a little bit. Our presenting sponsor today is Community Transit. And the event sponsors are Puget Sound Energy, Port of Seattle, and then our supporting sponsors, Alexis Cafe and Catering and Cascadia College. So let's hear it for our sponsors. If you ever went to camp, you can do like this is a round of an applause, like you can do that, or this is a applause in sign language. So you have all those options. I will hope you would show us some love. So I want to see everybody show me some love. Show me some love. Woo! Thank you. Okay. So now we're just about to hear from Community Transit. Rick, that's your heads up. I want to introduce you to Rick they freaked me out with your last name. Ilgenfritz.
Ilgenfritz, perfect.
Excellent. Rick Ilgenfritz, who is the CEO of Community Transit. He joined the team in January 2021. As the CEO, he leads a workforce of more than 800 employees, guiding the agency's mission and vision, and providing organizational leadership to deliver high quality, innovative public transportation options to the people of Snohomish County. We are very grateful that he's here. Please welcome one of our community partners and today's presenting sponsor, Community Transit CEO, Rick Ilgenfritz. Yay.
Well, yay, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Carmen, Brittany in particular, for the opportunity to partner with the Chamber and to say a few words today about Community Transit and our role in the community. Greetings as well to Mayor Olsen and City Manager Leonhart. I think we have in common a lifelong journey of listening to people experiment with pronunciation of our last names. So we have that in common. It's great to be here. Community Transit is a mobility provider, and we are passionate about connecting people and places. And it's right there up front in our mission and our vision. Our mission is helping people get from where they are to where they want to go. And our vision for that is easy travel for all. And so, you know, we are just passionate about that and partnering with municipal governments, county government, other institutions in the community, higher learning organizations, employers, and everybody else who has a common goal in building community and building quality of life. So that's what we bring to the table. I wanted to just spend a couple minutes here giving you a brief report on how we've fared with COVID and what we have going on in the community, in case you're not aware. COVID hit public transit pretty hard, as you might imagine. Ridership has been down over the last year, but we came through it fairly well with our workforce healthy. We had 40 positive cases over the course of the pandemic, and none right now, and only a couple within the workplace earlier last year. We brought our service down early in the pandemic, and we slowly have scaled it back up to 85% of what it was pre-pandemic. That's the service level we've determined is necessary to provide social distancing on board. So we've been providing a 6-foot separation for passengers aboard our vehicles, and we have continued to provide service throughout the pandemic. We haven't missed a service day, and we're very proud of that fact. We disinfect our vehicles every day. We have invested in new air filtration and circulation systems. We have state-of-the-art technology on board, keeping the vehicles clean and safe for everybody who wants to ride. So now we're making the pivot to reconnect with our customers and rebuild ridership as we get through the vaccination process and hopefully get back to a more normal pattern of commuting and traveling around the region. We have a number of routes that serve Bothell with a couple of park and rides. Our flagship service in and around Bothell is our Swift Green Line, which operates north-south out to Seaway Transit Center and connects with our Blue Line on Evergreen Way and Highway 99. That's a 12.5-mile corridor. We have active plans to extend the Green Line all the way down into Bothell and network robustly with Sound Transit and King County Metro services so that folks in Bothell can get where they want to go throughout the region, and folks who want to get to Bothell for jobs, for school, what have you, have multiple options for doing so. So we think the future is bright. We are updating our long-range plan next year and looking at how we can better serve the community going forward. I'll conclude with a quick shout out to Council Member James McNeil, who's a board alternate for us. He and I had a great session to get acquainted a few weeks back, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with him, with the city, with the chamber, and all your members. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful to hear from you, and I'm glad that community transit is faring through this in unexpected year. What a pleasure. Okay, now we get to hear from our event sponsor, the Port of Seattle. So Carrie, that's your heads up. I'm going to welcome the Port of Seattle East King County's Community and Government Relations Manager, Carrie Kravitz. Carrie, take it away. Oh yeah, oh, wait, hold on, great. Joy. Let's hear some joy.
Hello there, is my screen sharing working?
Yes.
Awesome, okay. As Carmen said, I'm Carrie Kravitz. I do East King County Community and Government Relations for the Port, and we are very proud to sponsor today's State of Bothell event and to support the Bothell Kenmore Chamber. We have a pretty similar story to what Rick just talked about at Community Transit. So I'm going to take a few minutes to tell you about the Port and what's happening throughout King County and in Bothell. I think lots of times people are confused why the Port of Seattle is doing something in Bothell, and I often like to say we should be the Port of King County. The Port was founded in 1911 as a special purpose government by the vote of the people. Our mission is to promote economic opportunities and quality of life in the region by advancing trade, travel, commerce, and job creation. And we do so in an equitable, accountable, and environmentally responsible manner. This slide here shows our economic impact. And that $22.5 billion we have in total economic activity spreads throughout our entire region. And having that large economic footprint, we found ourselves in a position to not only be part of this region's economic recovery, but to do so with an intentional, equitable lens. We all know that COVID did not hit all communities equally, neither economically nor physically. And at the Port, we maximize the work already underway, like diversity and contracting. but we also made new investments in this area. And on April 6th, we announced a new accelerator for women and minority-owned businesses looking to grow and innovate. We're accepting applications for that program until May 15th. So when I'm done speaking, I'll put a link for that information into the chat. You know, the port, you probably don't think about us every day, and honestly, I didn't before I started working here. But if you're shopping or selling, if you're eating or catching or growing, and especially traveling, our airport and seaport are part of this daily life in this region. And while last year, just like Rick was saying, we saw a huge decline in our activity, the flights in and out of SeaTac, large decline, but we're starting to see a steady pickup from the holidays and most recently with spring break. And if you're traveling through SEA, our rebranding of SeaTac, our Fly Healthy at SEA program has multiple ways we're focusing on health and safety of the traveling public, our tenants, and our employees. So while our physical properties are along the Seattle waterfront and in SeaTac, we're connected throughout the county through those gateways, but also through economic development. So we partner with chambers. I'm happy to be the one connected with the team here. And each year, the Port awards economic development partnership grants to cities throughout King County. In 2020, the City of Bothell was awarded a $29,730 partnership grant to go towards the pop-up retail incubator. That program created temporary pop-up structures for retail, with Mercy Corps Northwest providing business recruitment, business counseling, and microfinancing resources. We're really proud to be part of the pop-up retail incubator, to partner with the city, partner with the chamber, and to be a part of your everyday life in one way or another. This is a small sample of what we have going on at the Port of Seattle. If you have questions about what's happening or want to learn more, here's my contact information, as well as how to subscribe to all of our different e-newsletters. I'm looking forward to hearing the state of Bothell today, and thank you so much for your time. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so very much. I love it. This is exciting. And then next, and our final sponsor we'll be hearing from this morning, I'm still morning, 11:53. We have Julian Lowe with the Puget Sound Energy to provide a quick update. I'm very excited. Julian serves as the local government affairs and public policy manager. So Julian, that is your heads up. It is your turn, and you've got a screen share too. You're on it. Thank you.
Well, I got great prompts. Thank you, Carmen. Again, great to be back here at the Bothell Kenmore Chamber for the state of Bothell. Definitely really appreciate the great relationship we have with Mayor Olsen, City Manager Leonhart, also King County Council Member Rod Dembowski, and other Bothell City Council members who are here on the call as well. Yes, this pandemic has hit all of us hard. Businesses, the port, community transit, and Puget Sound Energy. But like the port, like community transit and others here in this call, lots of frontline workers still trying to do what we can to make a positive difference in the lives of people in Bothell, Kenmore, and beyond. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Puget Sound Energy. We are the oldest and largest utility in Washington State, 1.1 million electric customers, 900,000 natural gas customers. We are a proud Bothell employer in the North Creek area. You know, the folks who take your customer calls, the folks who work with you on energy efficiency. These are folks that are working out of our Bothell office. We have 3,100 employees in 10 counties throughout the Puget Sound area. And so I'm going to touch a little bit today on what we've been doing on the issues of sustainability, and then also helping our customers during the pandemic. You know, we were one of the first to send employees home to work remotely while still making sure that our frontline workers provided safe, reliable, affordable electricity and natural gas. And, we recognized early on that this pandemic was going to have a huge impact on our customers and the region's economy. So we were the first utility to not disconnect customers for non-payment, waived late fees, worked with our residential and small business customers on payment options. And then also we stood up the Crisis Affected Customer Assistance Program, KCAP. We provided $11 million in bill payment assistance to our customers. And I'm actually pleased to announce that we are going to have another round of that bill payment assistance in the amount of $27 million to assist customers who are struggling throughout our service territory. And I would definitely really appreciate when we're getting ready to launch that, really appreciate you as business leaders, you as elected leaders, to help leverage that, to get the word out, to let folks know that that payment assistance is available for our electric and natural gas customers. We also, through our foundation and employee match programs, supported food bank and other critical organizations throughout the region. Certainly Port of Seattle has done some really great work in and around its airport and seaport to support communities. I think the racial reckoning that we saw last year, really had a lot of employers like Puget Sound Energy look inward and think about what they could do to assist in the movement on racial equity. And so Puget Sound Energy is proud to join other Washington employers as a part of Washington Employers for Racial Equity, where we're going to look at our business practices to make sure that our workforce reflects the diversity of the region. And then certainly, I think many of us share the priorities on sustainability. And so Puget Sound Energy announced that it is going to be a beyond net zero company by 2045. What does that mean? That's mainly in three areas. One, it's our own operations and electric supply, working to be carbon neutral by 2030 in our power supply, and then carbon free by 2045. We were proud to support the landmark CETA law. Two, that means reducing end-use gas sales 30% by 2030. And then finally, working with other industries to help reduce their emissions as well. This was a really landmark session for climate with the passage of cap and trade and also the low carbon fuel standard. The Port of Seattle and others were very supportive of that policy, as were we. And so we don't have all the answers today, but we'll be definitely engaging all of our customers to help make that happen. Again, looking forward to hearing today's State of Bothell address. Please do visit our website for other incentives and rebates that you can take advantage of. So I see JD here, so you can go see him and have him do a little work on your house for a heat pump or Washington Energy Services as well. Again, great to see everyone here and looking forward to today's presentation.
Thank you so much. I feel very moved and joyful that our city utilities and the things that make our organization work, our life work, are here representing and keeping us up to date. I mean, we have to know. I think there's an essential service, and you know it's working when you don't even know what it does. And so that is such a good representation of so many of what the work you do. So thank you again so much to Community Transit, Port of Seattle, and Puget Sound Energy. We love your partnership. We appreciate the service you offer to our community members and our members. It's wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So City of Bothell, it's almost your turn. I need to see this. I need a little round of applause for sponsors again, like just another one. If we were in person, we'd be like rocking it, but this is it. This is good. This looks good. I like it. It's good energy, good chi. We got some good chi today. Okay, well, with that good chi, we're going to kick off our Bothell State of the City address. You're going to hear from Mayor Olsen and Interim City Manager Erin Leonhart. and we're excited. Mayor Olsen is going to start. So I just want to tell you a little about Mayor Olsen. He is a civil engineer with a bachelor's degree in biology from University of Puget Sound and a degree in civil engineering from University of Washington. As he's a Washington native and he's lived in Bothell since 2004. And this person spends a ton of time making sure that our city works and providing leadership and inspiration. So we appreciate his service. Love to have him in this place. Love hearing from him. So let's give him a warm welcome and then we'll see Erin along the way. So yay, welcome Mayor Olsen, welcome. It's all you, unmute. You've got this.
Thank you so much, Carmen. I always love your energy, just during our general meetings every month. I always love it. You get me pumped up for my monthly update. So here you are again, getting that energy rocking. I can hardly wait to see you in a live venue. I can only imagine how just crazy that's going to get, just how much energy there will be. So here we are. I hope everyone can see the starting screen. So thank you so much for having me, Brittany, Carmen, and the rest of the chamber. On behalf of the rest of the City Council, I want to thank the chamber for all the wonderful work they do in our community. We're truly lucky to have such a supportive and productive chamber with leaders passionately invested in our community. Not all cities can say that, so I'm proud of our chamber in Bothell. So it's a true honor today to be here, to look back at 2020, to look at ahead at the rest of 2021. The last year has been difficult, one for all of us here in Bothell, but with the strong support of our residents, community organizations, and our strong business community, we've handled many of these challenges and will come out of this year even stronger. So today, both myself and Interim City Manager Erin Leonhart will update you on our last year, a year that might be the most challenging year in our community has ever been through, definitely in my lifetime. We'll talk about the progress we made on City Council goals. We'll discuss our COVID response and how the pandemic impacted us. But we'll also talk about the normal and at times extraordinary work that the staff still has to accomplish. We'll share a little bit of our financial picture and wrap it up talking about what's next on the horizon for us. You probably know that council focuses on certain priorities and goals each year. We continue to make progress in many of these areas, and we'll touch on these throughout the presentation. In a normal year, connecting with our community and caring for those in need is vital. That was even more critical this last year, a year that saw an unprecedented pandemic, civil unrest, and for us, the unfortunate and tragic loss of two first responders, firefighter Kirk Robinson and Officer Jonathan Shoup. Community connections are important during any year, but even more so during this year for us. Shortly after our year began, the pandemic started. In the beginning, cities and agencies weren't quite sure what to do. Working with the public health partners, we made some quick decisions, what we think would help us in the long run. Similar to PSE, how they acted quick and decisively. We quickly formed an outreach team and made calls to the community to ensure that they had the public health info and the resources they needed. Our fire department also visited with our city senior communities to share the public information as well. So we activated our Emergency Coordination Center, our ECC, and did an emergency declaration and started planning. You can tell from these pictures that this was before COVID was really spreading and mask guidance and social distance wasn't even a thing or being discussed. Everyone's seated shoulder to shoulder, just listening and looking on intently. We started ordering PPE, which ended up being a wise decision given the shortages experienced nationwide later on. We adjusted our city hall hours and staff schedules to increase social distancing, adopting new cleaning protocols to keep the staff safe. Per the public health guidance, we had to close most government buildings. Thankfully, our community was so gracious and understanding. We switched to appointments and then eventually to the virtual meetings. We're thankful for everyone's flexibility as we changed how we delivered the many services that the city provides. So on the left here in February of 2020, we had a regional meeting in our city hall with multiple large companies and the Economic Alliance of Snohomish County. Then on the right, that's the reality of today in virtual meetings, as we're all here today participating in. I will say that I do have long pants on. No shorts for me. So events had to change, but we still worked with the community. Volunteers assisted with mass packaging and distribution. Business reopening kits were distributed at 4 of our pop-up events. We pivoted to virtual programming. Parades and online activities were the new norm. Continuing volunteer partnerships. We could still be outside, do what we could for the community. Throughout the year, we had to find ways to connect. Police officers and firefighters participated in over 20 birthday parades. Public Works held a grand opening virtually of our new pedestrian bridge. We were honored to have Martha Rosca as the first resident to cross, as you can see here. If you haven't visited the new bridge, I highly encourage you to go out for a walk across it. Just this morning, I spotted a beaver swimming by in the river beneath. As the nation experienced civil unrest, we saw marches, protests, and rallies in Bothell as well. Police met with local activist groups, members multiple times concerning police reform. Our police department stood with civil protesters throughout the city multiple times. Traffic control and support for marches, protests, and rallies. Having an already incredibly difficult year, we then lost Officer Shoup. This was so very difficult for the Bothell family. The support and love our community and businesses showed to the entire police department and staff was remarkable and helped us heal. I know I was emotionally moved when I visited the plaza and saw the cards, the flowers, and the outpouring of emotion by our community. We always hear about Bothell community, and during this time, we truly witnessed this community coming together. So community engagement was still a priority this last year. It just looked a little different. We did several open houses and more than 50 virtual events, games, or sessions. Something positive to come out of this, we can do virtual events. We can do hybrid events. So moving forward, we hope more of our community can participate, even with the busy schedules. I think in our last meeting, Brittany brought up that through the polls and surveys that the chamber has done, there's a significant interest in the hybrid aspect opportunities we have with such busy lives, jumping from meeting to meeting. It offers us that availability of being at back-to-back meetings miles apart. So on the left, January 2020, we had a Canyon Park open house just before COVID. And again, on the right, here we have virtual meetings. Just want to say, as always, don't forget that mute button. Everybody's been stellar today, so that's great. So closely related to community connections, our community health and service needs were so important. We were proud to see Bothell community take care of each other. The North Shore Senior Center stepped up with their community service and took care of seniors, families, and the city. We see the work that the North Shore Schools Foundation, the Rotary, and the Chamber are doing in our community, just to name a few. We partnered with the Senior Center to disperse $384,000 in CARES Act dollars directly to residents for assistance. City Council agreed to provide professional and administrative services on behalf of the North Shore Parks and Recreation Service Area, the NPRSA that owns the Senior Center's facilities. So that results in the Bothell staff working alongside the North Shore Senior Center staff on the repairs that are desperately needed. And once again, thank you for Councilmember Dembowski for this. I believe he was an integral part in that levy that was making these repairs possible now. So some of these projects include a new roof, HVAC replacement, new siding, new windows, and many more. It's a great building, but it does take maintenance and upkeep. So excited to have this opportunity and those funds available to us. So we established and received $780,000 in grant funding through the King County's Mental Illness and Drug Dependency Program, MID. So we hired the Radar Navigator Manager and 2 new navigators. So short-term assistance was provided dollars, and we still move forward on larger affordable housing, which is an issue that is challenging everywhere within our region, not just our city. So we adopted mandatory affordable housing provisions in the Canyon Park sub-area plan. Lot A is under agreement with an affordable housing developer to build a 54-unit affordable housing project. And we have affordable housing is important to our community well-being, much like public safety. As we touched on earlier, our police department has had a challenging year as well. Through that, we're still able to become reaccredited. We had 57 officers trained in policies and protocols on domestic violence and violence protection orders. All of the frontline officers completed crisis intervention training. The city continues to implement new services made possible by the 2018 voter-approved safe and secure levy. Engagement coordinator, already coordinating chats with the chief, meeting with the community members, and scheduling tours. Our first responders did an amazing job for us in such a challenging year. Fire department responded to approximately 6,500 emergency calls. They had to develop and follow new PPE and decontamination protocols. And then we added a 4th platoon, the D shift. So they're currently using mobile vaccine units to visit high-risk and vulnerable communities in Bothell right now to administer vaccines. So we can't say thank you enough to our fire department and all they do. Just a little bit about our new fire stations. They'll have improved decontamination area for the personnel and equipment to provide for better firefighter health and safety. Have separate sleeping quarters for male and female firefighters. House a new police satellite office at the Canyon Park Fire Station, number 45, you can see on the map, meaning police officers will be more available to serve North Bothell. Construction starts July 2021. Temporary stations will be on or near the existing stations. And we'll have some occasional downtown traffic impacts due to the periodic closures of 185th. Finally, the Bothell Arts Commission and Council selected an artist, John Fleming, to incorporate art into the Station 42. So our fire station projects are quite large and complex in scope, so please bear with us. Following completion, these 2 new stations will serve our community for decades and make our service for firefighters that much better and safer. So another complicated project I want to speak about is the large project we worked on with the pedestrian bridge replacement. This project replaced the pedestrian bridge over the Sammamish River at the park at Bothell Landing. It's a wider timber truss bridge with a 12-foot wide deck that meets current structural and American with Disabilities Act, the ADA standards. It has a flatter deck and approach grades, providing a fully accessible shared use, non-motorized path for bicyclists and pedestrians alike. Has a great ramp and stairs on the south side of the river. And the design maintains the arched look of the city's iconic bridge logo. Just wanted to share some great views of the bridge itself as you're walking across the river. So the new bridge has made it even easier for cyclists and pedestrians to commute, visit, and spend money in our city and downtown especially. We've added wayfinding signs on either side along the trail to direct trail users into downtown. So the COVID-19 recession and rising real estate and construction costs are requiring Sound Transit to prioritize and realign some of the projects. The 2 bus rapid transit projects are critical for connecting Bothell to light rail and transit throughout the region. Both were originally targeted to be completed in 2024. We'll find out this later this summer if that still holds true. Stride 522 runs along Bothell Way and connects Bothell, Kenmore, and Lake Forest Park to the new Link Light Rail station and shoreline. This will be the only high-frequency east-west route for us on the north side of the lake. Stride 405 connects communities on I-405 to Link Light Rail at Linwood, Bellevue, and Tukwila, as well as other regional transit services. So please let the Sound Transit Board know via the survey currently available before April 30th that Stride 522 and Stride 405 are critically important to our Bothell community. I've talked about the unique, challenging, and special projects we've worked on this year, but it's also important to recap the work, projects, and maintenance that still had to be done every day. We know that Public Works does so much of this work in-house and does it well. In fact, the Public Works Department earned the American Public Works Association, APWA, accreditation this year, one of only other 10 agencies in Washington state to do so. With that, I'll turn it over to Interim City Manager Erin Leonhart to highlight some of the city staff's accomplishments.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, everyone. So just to harken back, how many of you remember January 2020? I know I didn't until I looked, we started this presentation. So back in January of 2020, our year kind of started off with sort of normal activities. We had a 4-day snow event where crews were focused on keeping roads clear so that people in their cars could get to their work and their school and all those normal things that we used to do. Just 2 months later, we were in a situation where we were sending many of our folks home, aside from our police and fire, so we could try to figure out how we could continue city operations in a safe and effective way. And we managed to do it. I'd like to start by talking about our Safe Streets and Sidewalks levy. It was, the voters approved it in 2016, and we've been continuing to make progress on this, taking care of our very important street and sidewalk infrastructure. So the operations crews did a lot of work repairing potholes and sort of the day-to-day activities, and also replaced almost 400 linear feet of sidewalk on various school routes throughout the city. On the project side, we were able to complete some non-motorized projects. So 188th Avenue Northeast now has new sidewalk and bike lane. We also did some slurry seal projects, which you'll see the photograph on this slide. We tried kind of a low cost way to preserve our pavement in our neighborhoods. On the environmental side of the house, we were able to continue conducting outreach campaigns and citizen engagement and community engagement, things like Earth Week and Pollinator Week and those types of things. We also had a team that worked with 133 businesses to help navigate dangerous waste regulations and handling techniques. And a lot of these visits were done in 2020 virtually, and they try to meet with folks in their most comfortable language. So really proud of that program. Another thing that we managed to do was eliminate pesticide and herbicide use in all of our parks in 2020, which was a big deal for the community. So speaking of parks and recreation, parks quickly adjusted their operations and posted a lot of signage to keep parks safe. You may remember in the very beginning of the pandemic, we were closing parks and telling people to just stay home, but then we realized that it was one of the safer places to be. Also, a big accomplishment from the park side of the house was after 2019, a bunch of community engagement, The council approved the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan in the beginning of 2020. So this plan really sets the tone and the roadmap for parks improvements for several years. And as several have mentioned, both today and in days previous, there was a pop-up dog park that the Parks Department created. We hosted it at both City Hall as well as the Park at Bothell Landing in 2020. Very popular. And I believe the next pop-up dog park area to be determined will open in June. So stay tuned for more on that. Here's some pictures of our furry friends enjoying their activities. Technology, fast and furious. In the past year, it was really our IS department transitioned over 200 staff to full-time telecommuting, just kind of at the drop of a hat. At the same time, they implemented a new HR payroll timekeeping system for about half of our staff or 2/3 of our staff. So many of us have transitioned away from paper timesheets that we were still doing. And we've been doing virtual city council and board and commission meetings. The photograph, the council celebrating the 2020 grads last year. Community development. We managed to maintain our permit processing, inspection, development review functions during the pandemic. There was a brief halt to construction that you may remember, but we were able to keep everything going on our end so that when folks were allowed to resume, that we were prepared for them. Some of that required virtual inspections in the beginning and have now transitioned back to in-person, but a lot of opportunities to review how we do business and figure out if there are better ways, even post-pandemic. The city issued over 2,100 permits in 2020, which was down from 2019, but it's coming roaring back, and we anticipate that 2021 permits issued will be more than 2019. Community development also updated downtown historic preservation regulations during 2020. And some of the projects that got underway in 2020, these are all housing and residential projects, including a very large multifamily development that's occurring on the former Seattle Times site. This is kind of before as they got started, and here's once the building was gone. It's my understanding they plan to recycle 95% of the concrete actually on site, which is pretty impressive. There was a lot of concrete there. Also, community development adopted, and the council adopted a sub-area plan for Canyon Park that came with new development regulations, and I believe the mayor mentioned affordable housing requirements and a planned action ordinance, really trying to create more of a neighborhood in Canyon Park, in addition to preserving the land for employment growth. We have important businesses in that area, but also creating some new residential neighborhoods and adding retail and amenities for the employees of that business park. And we've had some large property acquisitions recently in both the Canyon Park as well as Montebilla. Alexandria Real Estate is going to be doing some development within the city, developing a life science cluster. Also in economic development, and also sort of along the environmental lines, the city has continued to work on cleaning up historic contamination downtown. So it's both petroleum contamination as well as solvents. So we're plugging away at that, and really hope to have that done. It's been over a decade in the work so far, and hopefully it won't be another before we're finished. Block D in downtown, it's one of our gateway properties. It's a city surplus property, and we have a mixed use project currently in permit review. We also had a robust tourism program somehow in the last year. And the mayor mentioned Sound Transit 3, bus rapid transit, that the city is partnering with Sound Transit and hopes to bring to fruition in the next 5 years. Business COVID support. So the city responded very quickly and recognized that the pandemic was going to have a significant impact on our businesses. And the support came in various forms, some of it through our economic development manager, Jeannie Ash. The city distributed almost $500,000 in cash grants and PPE supplies to businesses. We also temporarily suspended expiration of permits that were already in the works. And we also advocated for restaurants to ensure that restaurant delivery fees were fair. We also closed a block of Main Street, and this closure, the council just extended this to October 3rd at their last meeting. So closed this so that businesses could spread out a little bit and get a little more elbow room and create some additional outdoor dining and recreating space for their customers when indoor restrictions are so tight. We also are temporarily allowing use of required private parking for outdoor dining. And we've also really tried to create processes for folks to make the interface with the city easier, knowing that they were having challenges elsewhere. So pandemic financial impacts actually on the city itself. City leadership recognized very early that we needed to take swift action because of our low reserves and not knowing what was going to happen and how long it was going to last. We anticipated impacts to our various tax collections, some of them sales tax, real estate excise tax, and our utilities revenue, as well as lodging tax. Some of the measures that we took, we did furloughs for most non-public safety personnel for a few months in the beginning. We also had to eliminate 15 positions through layoffs, and we froze all discretionary positions that became vacant. We also had an organization-wide call to reduce spending where possible. And the organization responded really well, and we ended up saving more than $2 million from those various actions taken early. We also received CARES Act funding to help us with our response costs, which were significant, and particularly in the beginning. And the overall revenue disruptions, fortunately for the city at least, were relatively short-lived. So the conclusion is that our financial health is good. We're stable right now. Now I will hand it back to the mayor. Thank you.
Mary, gonna need to unmute.
Yep, I was just saying that to myself, and I even said it in the presentation already, that darn mute button. So yeah, let me share get back to my screen. So can you see the what's next? All right. All right, thanks, Erin. So state legislation is requiring us to move to the state's online business licensing portal, but the state system can't accommodate our complicated licensing fee structure. So over the summer, staff will be advancing legislation for council consideration that simplifies our licensing fee structure. So the staff effort will include resources for businesses to help them understand the new structure. So more to come on that. So the new monthly financial dashboard will be unveiled in May. And then once unveiled, the financial dashboard will be updated and posted to the website monthly. So financial challenges have been well documented over the past couple years. In the fall, staff will advance this topic in a discussion of the options to address those challenges with City Council. Whoop. All right, so the pop-up retail market is mentioned earlier, but we're creating a program to support small businesses and entrepreneurs in Bothell to have a brick and mortar, or in this case, a wood and timber presence, giving retail space in temporary sheds in downtown Bothell. So the City Council prioritized a new DEI program with a budget. Staff has met with other cities and 4 area DEI consultants to discuss training, philosophy, and outreach approaches. Race relations training was offered to all of our staff. We surveyed staff, boards and commissions, and the community about race, climate, and culture. Staff has met with local activists multiple times. We're considering a DEI consultant to develop our DEI action plan. And our internal dive-in committee is transforming into our core equity team. So our city manager recruitment. So we've established a timeline that takes us through the fall and will give an opportunity for the community, the current and future city council to be involved in the selection of this next city manager for Bothell. Then we'll close out with some of our favorite community photos. As we think about this year, we're thankful for our essential workers, our waste management teams, grocery workers, healthcare workers, mail personnel, and delivery drivers, and so many more in our community. We're thankful for a community that makes the most of challenges and supports each other. We saw families setting up childcare groups and food drives. Neighbors ran errands for seniors and dropped off books and activities for them. We're thankful for the funny memories that we could have making light of COVID. Bothell residents were even sharing toilet paper with each other. We baked, took on new hobbies, cleaned closets, and made the most of it. I heard sourdough starters were quite the rage for a while. So we're thankful for embracing new coworkers, our furry coworkers, family time, and above all, so thankful for a community that takes care of each other. This is the Bothell community that we know and love. Thank you all.